going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dolphins on Duke. This week we got my guy, the captain, Wendell Moore. Talk to him a little bit about this year and what he's done to be so consistent. One of our best players every game thus far. So as always, make sure you're subscribing, commenting, so you don't miss anything. Check us out over on YouTube at the Field of 68. It's where we post all our clips from my podcast and all the rest of our podcasts. Also reach out to us on Twitter at the Field of 68 and me personally at Dre_Dawkins. Let us know what you think and who you may want to hear from next. But yeah, enjoy this one and we will see you next week. All right, this week we got a special guest, captain, and my pick for National Player of the Year about a quarter of the way through the year, the one and only Wendell Moore. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time, man. So we always start the podcast off with the same question. What was your welcome to Duke moment?
Oh, man. My welcome to Duke moment, really running out there in Madison Square Garden. Our first game against Kansas my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely an atmosphere I've never been in coming in to Duke, but at the same time, it's only an experience that you'll be able to experience at Duke.
Yeah.
So definitely my coming to Duke moment.
Yeah, that's a solid one. So out of high school, talk a bit about your recruiting process and then ultimately why you ended up in Durham at Duke.
Yeah. So my recruiting process, I really wasn't even that crazy. I want to say out of my Final Five schools, 4 were located within 2 hours of me. It was here, Carolina, Wake Forest, NC State, and South Carolina. So actually all 5 are located within 2 hours of me.
Yeah.
So obviously I want to stay close to home. Family meant a lot to me. But at the end of the day, Duke was just always a place I wanted to go. That's been my dream since I was 6, 7 years old, since I picked up a basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched guys like Kai, Tatum, B.I., yourself, Meal, Tyson, all them. I watched Ndot, Shire. I watched all those guys growing up. And I just really wanted the opportunity to do that for myself. I ultimately love the decision me coming here.
Yeah. So you get here freshman year, Duke, Carolina at Carolina, game winner in overtime. Is that like, oh, I made it? Like, can it get really any better than that?
No, honestly, it didn't get much better than that. Hitting the game winner against a rival team in the best rivalry in sports, being the kid from Carolina, like I said, the dream of always doing that. It's been multiple times in my head. I've played that same scenario where it goes 3, 2, 1. You make the buzzer beater shot against Carolina, and for that to happen for me, that was a surreal experience. It really was. It's definitely a moment I remember forever.
Yeah. How do you, when you remember that play, how did you stay in the moment and have the wherewithal to go up and get the putback? Because a lot of times in those situations, guys just kind of freeze up, balls in the air, and guys just kind of watch, which is what they did. How were you able to say, oh, let me take advantage of the situation and stay in the moment?
Now, for a second, I was definitely one of those people who was just standing and watching. Because Trey had the ball. He sent us into to that overtime with shot he hit before. So in my mind, I'm like, here it goes again. So I'm just really just watching the ball go up. And in my mind, I see it's a little short. I'm the closest person to it, so why not me go get it?
Yeah.
And I had just a little angle. I was able to get up on the backboard, a little spin on it, and dropped in.
Yeah, that was a hell of a moment. I was jumping around. I remember that like it was yesterday. That was a lot of fun for me at home. So I appreciate you giving me that moment. So after that, did it take a while for you to kind of like get to the next thing, or were you able to just kind of, all right, that's over with, move on to the next game?
No, I think for me it was kind of easy to move on. I've always been one of those people who's not really big on staying in moments on the past. And that's I really say that's just a personal thing. That's not even anything to do with basketball and anything to do like that. But I'm just one of those people who like living for the moment. I'm not really one of those people who like looking at the past, looking at the future, because none of that's guaranteed. I mean, obviously, the future's not guaranteed for any of us. So living in the moment is really the most important thing to me at all times.
For sure. So your first two seasons, in one way or another, ended due to COVID. Obviously, your freshman year, whole thing got shut down. Then last year, COVID on the team during the ACC tournament. I mean, how difficult has that been? To have your two seasons kind of taken away, not really due to your own. It's one thing to like lose, say, okay, we went out, played 40 minutes, lost, and that was the end. But just kind of taken out of your hands.
Yeah, no, it's definitely difficult. I mean, it definitely sucks because especially our freshman year, I honestly think we had a chance to win a national championship. I think we were one of the best teams in the country our freshman year. And then we really just started going.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say before we got into the ACC tournament, we were on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, probably playing some of our best basketball that we have all season. And for it to be canceled like that, man, actually I canceled just as we were about to load the bus to go to the game. So that's devastating there. And for really the same thing that happened last year. Again, we were in a situation where we had to win 5 games, 5 days to be able to make it to the NCAA tournament. We won those 3 games, and there it goes again and hit again. So our season ended right there again due to COVID. Like you said, nothing we could have done about it. But that stung, and it still does. But even more, it's just a motivator. And I think that's where I really came into the season the way I did. I really just want to make the NCAA tournament. I haven't played one NCAA tournament game since I've been in Duke uniform. And that's really abnormal for a Duke team. So that's really something I really want to do really bad with this team. And also win the whole thing with this team.
For sure. So after, last year with, no fan, less fans, we didn't have any fans at home. Some teams had some fans here and there. What was it like, to get those fans back in Cameron for that first game this season and the atmosphere? Like, had you forgotten about it? Was it like, oh man, I forgot Cameron was like this?
No, I definitely didn't forget it, but it was like, man, like I'm a freshman again. Like it's like my first time coming in here, seeing all these fans. Because you know how it is. The fans here, they're second to none.
Absolutely.
The atmosphere is the atmosphere that everybody dreams of playing of, and only few get to. So having the fans back here, it meant everything to us. I know it meant everything to me. I think fans really make our sport what it is. They bring the excitement behind it. They bring the love and the joy behind this sport. So having them back was definitely a huge plus.
Yeah. On the flip side, how weird was it, you coming off your freshman year where, you experienced Cameron, and then how weird was it sophomore year having like the exact opposite where there's no one in there and it's just the 2 teams and the refs? That had to be like a crazy feeling.
Yeah. It goes from the best of it to the worst of it, really.
Yeah.
It goes from having the best fans in the country to not having one fan in there. We had posters around our bleachers that were our fans. We had posters of our family behind us. But that's never going to be the same as actually having them there. So it was definitely a different experience. It really felt, almost like it was a scrimmage every game. We had to find a way to build energy within ourselves. We didn't have the fans that give us that energy. So it was a lot different going into it.
Yeah. Did y'all do anything different, like in the pregame, to try and get that energy going because you didn't have the fans there?
Yeah. So we had the music in the locker room as always. We try to turn each other up a little bit, talk to each other. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of it compares to really energy that the fans give you while they're out there.
For sure. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now's the time because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season in full swing and conference play starting this weekend, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So what was this summer like for you, training wise? You've obviously made some real big strides, not just points, but rebounds, assists, steals. Like, what were some of the things that you were focused on heading into this season?
I probably say the biggest thing I was focused on leading into the season was just my mental aspect of the game. I mean, I felt like I always knew that that my physical abilities were there, or I wouldn't be here in the first place, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, it was just I really just get into a good mental space where I know anytime I step on the court, like I have the utmost confidence in myself that I know I'll be able to produce the way I want to produce. And that came with a lot of come to Jesus talks, as coach would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of those within myself. Started some meditation, just some ways to ease my mind. I just always keep my mind free and clear so I can go out and produce produce really the way that I want to.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been, the most consistent guy on the team this year. What are some of the keys for you to come out and be consistent? It's not, like I said, it's not always, being the guy scoring the ball, but, getting the team involved, getting other guys the ball, playing good defense. What's made you so consistent these first 8 to 9 games?
I probably say one thing that stuck out to me while I was doing those mental things that I was listening to a podcast from Jason Kidd.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he said that before every game, he kind of just closed his eyes and thinks to himself, like, what can I do tonight to make my team better? And that's something that really just stuck with me. And that's really something I do before every game myself. I kind of just sit there and think, like, what's one thing I can do tonight that doesn't better me, but it betters our team in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
That's leading tonight, going out there, guarding the best player, getting however many rebounds, making sure our offense flows right, making sure all our guys are rotating the right way on defense. Really just a mixture of that. So really, the only thing on my mind is just doing whatever I can to get a win.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's led to me being as consistent as I've been just the first 8 games.
Yeah. So mentioned earlier, you're one of the team captains, big time honor to be captain, for a Duke basketball team. What was that like when you found out you were going to be one of the captains this year?
Yeah. Like you said, it's definitely a huge honor. It's something I definitely take pride in. I can only thank my teammates for the honor. They voted me captain. They voted me and myself, not me and myself, but me and Joey as captains. I say I wouldn't want to leave with anybody else by my side. I've known Joey since I was 12, 13 years old, so we've been friends going through this. Been in college together for 3 years. So me and Joey have an unbelievable connection. And to be able to lead beside him, it's been almost a dream come true. The only thing that make the dream come true now is for us to win the whole thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But leading these guys has been great. It's been nothing else I can ask for better.
Yeah. And, you guys have played 3, big time opponents thus far. You had Kentucky at MSG, and Zag out in Vegas, and Ohio State at Ohio State. What do you guys learn about yourselves as a team from those early season tests against, big time opponents?
I really think the main thing we learned about ourselves is that we physically can compete with anybody in the country, and we know that. But now it comes against the mental side of things. So we had those tough opponents. But for example, we had Gonzaga on a Friday, came back, had to play Ohio State on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And really from a mental side of it, I think we were ready physically. We might have been a little tired going into it, things like that, playing 8 games in 20-some days. But going into it mentally, we really had a lead on them in the early parts of the game, and we felt we had control of the game. But come second half, again, I think we were physically prepared for it. We were fighting the whole way. But with shots didn't fall our way, I think it kind of messed with our mental a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
It gave them a lot of confidence in making big time shots at the end of the game. It really just came down to us getting to stop. I think that's where our mental has to become a lot stronger, a lot tougher as a whole team. Really just to be able to dig in, dig deep. Really just to get a bucket that we know we need, or get a stop that we know we need, or just execute something that we know we need in that moment. I think that's the biggest thing we learn about ourselves, that we just always have to be in it mentally for all 40 minutes, not just physically.
Yeah. Do you think that you guys are able to take some positives, even out of a loss, that you can kind of look back on and moving forward when you get in those tougher situations, remember, okay, we didn't do this or we did do this when it came down to it. That'll help you guys moving forward.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so I think the biggest positive is, like I said, is that we know we can compete with anybody physically and talent-wise in the country. So I think that's definitely a positive that we learned coming off this stretch of playing. We played Gonzaga, Kentucky, Ohio State, even some of the non-conference opponents that we played. They were all really good teams, and they forced us really to look within ourselves and really bring the best out of us. So I definitely think that's a positive we learned, that we do come to compete every single game. There hasn't been a game where we've really overlooked the team that was in front of us. So I definitely think that's a positive that we've brought to the table so far.
Yeah. And, with everything, all the noise that comes with, us being coaches last season and things like that, how do you keep yourself and keep the team focused on, the task at hand day after day, which is getting a little bit better, as opposed to, kind of looking at the big picture and putting pressure on yourselves to try and, send coach off with the championship?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so really at the end of the day, I mean, we all came here for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't for all the pressure that comes with this or all the excitement that comes with being Duke and everything that's surrounding coach. I mean, because that's always going to be there. I mean, this is Duke basketball. But at the end of the day, I think we all came in to win a national championship. And that's the main goal that we need to stay focused on. And I think that's the goal that we've been focused on this far, regardless of all the outside situations that we've had on this far and all the noise we've had, good or bad. I think we've been able to weather it. And we've done it together. I mean, we've really been continuing to stress that during this process, during the whole season, just stay together. I mean, because that's the only way that we're going to get through it.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you, man. I appreciate the time. Good luck the rest of the way. I know I'll be watching, and hopefully see you guys in late March, early April, down in New Orleans, I think, this year.
For sure, yeah. My man. Appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. Keep doing your thing, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right.